Hey everybody, welcome back. You're on the Big Game Hunters on the Magna SearchGroup.tv network. Today is Monday. It's Monday all day. Every day's a Monday in our business.
Don't you know it?
I'm with the infamous Landon Hood. My name's Michael Flint. Today we're talking about how to brand your company as a great place to work. Landon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many companies out there trying to attract talent, big or small, you want the best people out there. And so, it's not just about establishing a workplace culture. Of course it is. It is very important to establish a great place to work and have a great place to work. But, the one side of things people don't really focus on is really getting the word out there about how great it is to work for your company and really promoting that. And, different ways of promoting that is what we're going to look at today.
Yep.
So, and the steps that you have to take in terms of, first of all, establishing what exactly is about your company that makes you great,
and being able to articulate it and have it have something where your people are ambassadors,
right?
And obviously have that buy-in without it being a struggle. You want them to kind of relate, understand, and be able to kind of get out there and promote from within.
No, of course. Yeah. I mean, a huge part of that one is, finding your own employees. Sometimes your own employees are the best ambassadors. And first things first is take a look internally and are your employees happy? Are your employees going to be going out there saying good things? Because so often, everybody knows this when you're trying to get a job, it all comes from referrals. And so if you're not getting those positive internal referrals, then you're not going to get good talent. So the first thing we're going to take a look at here is assess your employment brand. So what about your company? What are your values in terms of what makes you great? What would attract a person to your company, and what are you looking for from people? Like what values in people you're looking for, and what values do your company have?
Well, we can start with the intangibles. I mean, when you look at a job description or you look at someone's resume, a lot of times you're looking for character, your integrity, and trust,
right?
Perseverance, attitudes, like a lot of that stuff that comes from meeting an individual, having a handshake, making eye-to-eye contact. The same holds true for a company. What's the glue? What's the fabric of your organization? What are they saying about you versus what do you want them to say?
Exactly. I mean, are you a very team-oriented culture? Or are you a culture that very much promotes honesty? I mean, all of these things are positive buzzwords, but you have to really take an internal look and see what you're saying, see what what your brand is. And sometimes that just comes from seeing what others are saying. Reaching out to going online, Googling your company. If your company's big enough, do you have Glassdoor reviews? What are former and current employees saying about yourself? And then you can sort of sometimes you might think certain thing about your own company that maybe people are thinking this one thing, but people are saying this other thing.
Do you hold a lot of stock for Glassdoor reviews though? Because I mean, on one hand,
begrudged ex-employees can sometimes just set a flame to the former workplace.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that a little bit. There seems to be a heavier emphasis on people that you might want to say something negative, not for the sake of saying something negative, because they're the ones that put their hand up and say, this is what's going on. Yeah. In many ways, it's harder to get a compliment than it is to complain.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that comes from any sort of reviews. I mean, restaurants will get a lot of negative reviews. It's hard. It's not a lot of people when they're satisfied with the experience. People are self-entitled. They're like, that's I expected that. It should be good. I'm good. I'm great. This should be great. Yep. So if an employee who's happy at their job, satisfied, everything's great, and unless they're completely blown away by the culture, you're not getting a lot of positive reviews, which can sometimes unbalance it. But I think it is important at the same time, and that's a big function of the HR team, is to get that feedback from internally. Have people fill out forms. They can be
long form census.
Exactly. And so figure out, are people happy? And then also when you're assessing your employment plan, who are your competitors for talent? You have a certain template, a certain person in mind for this job. Who are your competitors, and what differentiates you from those competitors? So why would somebody work for this company rather than your direct competitor? And once you establish that, once you really take the time to look at that, then you can go into defining your message.
Yep, I agree with that. So I think probably the biggest thing for organizations is making sure they stand for something meaningful. Being able to put it very succinctly into words. This is who we are. This is what we stand for, and this is why you should want to work here.
No, definitely. And I think you have to also establish who your target person is. Like what what are your values, and what are their values, and can you deliver on those values? It's easy to say we're open, honest. There's no politics. We're a flat organization. Everybody la du foray from the Grinch, everybody's holding hands. But honestly, sometimes it can be really hard to deliver on that. So first, when you're establishing that message and defining that message, make sure you can deliver on it.
That makes sense. And then what can you offer? I think sometimes what can you offer that's different, whether that's free beer in the fridge, The whole old foosball table, patio on the roof.
Yeah, Taco Tuesdays.
Taco Tuesdays, yeah, for sure. We happen to have here an internal voice competition. So who's the best karaoke singer?
Which I win.
I win.
99.9%.
I'm not really sure if I believe that, but that's okay.
Time.
Who's got the microphone now?
Let's hear some notes, Mike. Let's do this thing. No, okay. All right. And the next step, like once you've defined your message, once you've assessed who you are, I think it's really important, how to communicate that. So how do you get the word out? And so the one thing we thought about is, of course, internally, as we mentioned, send a company newsletter out. Get the word out about, hey, this is who we are. Who agrees? Rah, let's do this thing. Get them feedback from people. Is this who we are? And then once you get that promotion going, once you get those team building events going and get people excited about it, they'll start doing those referrals.
But also promoting your own people too. Like identifying who's a top performer or who's gone above and beyond in their business. For example, you have new people coming to the organization. HR orientates them, and they say, this is who we are, this is what we stand for. But there's always those people within the office that stop by, say hello, make sure that they're introduced, and go to that extra level. Those are the type of people that really define a culture sometimes, and it's because of who they are. It's not necessarily by the function of their job.
No, definitely.
Yep.
And then other ways of doing it, other than internally, are getting the words out there through, of course, job advertisements, making sure that you communicate your message out there. Various forms of media. When you're advertising your company, don't just advertise the product or the service, advertise the culture of the company as well. So many companies out there, like Hootsuite, for instance, has really gone out there and promoted the culture. Google has gone out there and promoted the culture of working for them, and what it really means to, is where people who've never even stepped foot in the office sort of understand sort of the vibe or the culture that they have, and that's why those companies are so successful at attracting talent.
Well, I think so, and I think the deep pockets help, and
that too.
The perks.
And then social media is huge, right? So everybody talks social media, and people want to talk about promoting their brand on social media and how do you get people to eat more Doritos through Facebook. But I think a really effective thing not enough people focus on is promoting your work culture on social media,
like LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is a huge thing. Yeah.
Well, I see more and more examples of people getting behind their company, taking an active part in recruitment in many cases.
Yeah.
But they have something to say, and I think there's a forum there to put a very proactive, positive message out there, because it seems to be very much that.
No, absolutely. And I think, it's important in not just generally promoting your company, say, hey, these are our values, check us out. It's really important to show, be specific, show what it's like to work there on social media. Go on your different accounts, LinkedIn, Facebook even, post videos of you guys at work. I think just personalize it really will help a lot.
Yep.
And then at the same time, also highlight specific roles, highlight specific jobs that might be out there, and of course the big message in social media is not just pushing out content, relevant, listening and engaging as well. Relevant content and content that you're going to hear back from people saying, hey, that slip and slide looks fun, blah blah blah. Engage back and forth, or be like, you guys are a bunch of phonies. Yep. Maybe you are, and then that's the first step, is looking in the mirror and realizing you're a bunch of phonies.
Yep.
But like really personalizing it and then promoting that on social media, I think is huge. Not just your company, but your culture.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You've raised some really great points tonight, with the scope of this conversation. If you were to summarize it and you were to say, how do you measure a brand's effectiveness, like a corporate brand's effectiveness? What are the one or two things that would summarize that from your perspective?
You look at the initiatives that you're making. You're pushing out, you're hiring people on social media, you're pushing out content, you're getting internal referrals, you're posting job advertisements, you're posting ads about the culture. The way to evaluate that, I think, is actually ROI. More and more today, people are looking at analytics, looking at, for every dollar spent, where is this going? And with online, it's so easy to figure out. Yep. So I think, for every extra dollar spent on these new initiatives that you might be implementing, how many new employees are coming on? For every, how are employees being retained? And I think you got to look at that over the course of like 9 to 12 months to realize the effectiveness of this brand,
retention.
And then also, you're taking a look at employee satisfaction. Again, internal factors, not just dollars, but internal factors in terms of, our employees happy. And that's,
Walk through the room, count the smiles.
Yeah.
When no one's looking, who's smiling?
get a whiff of, the satisfaction, or just like the despair or sorrow. It could be one of the two.
Despair. So I hope not. I hope not.
No, not at Magna Search Group. Never
That's
at
right.
Magna Search Group. But yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
a couple tips maybe, out there for some of the people. Allow employees to use social media. Not just themselves, not on their own accounts, but have them post in the account. Say like, hey, that was so fun at the camp, whatever. Like, have people engage on that social media platform, and also just embrace the various forms of different media when it comes to promoting your brand, and not just seeing it as an HR function, seeing it as a very inherent part of who you are, because ultimately a company is as good as its people, and people, they thrive on culture. We're a bunch of animals.
Yeah, well, I think HR has to take a very collaborative approach to how they bring people in, because it is just that. It's making sure that everybody is on the same page and moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. That'd
Awesome.
be foray.
Enjoyed the talk today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, thanks for the time. It is Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday with some hot new content. Any questions you have, we're here. We're ready to answer. Catch us on a bunch of different things. Google+, not so much, but we're there. You can check it out. But yeah, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all of it. You guys, engage us on social media. I'll check the Google+ accounts if you guys are going to post. But yeah, thanks for your time. Michael Flint, Landon Hood. This is Big Game Hunters.
Thank you.